5th-century Athenians, like all their fellow Greeks, were devout people. They believed in the absolute power of the gods to help them or harm them. Religious festivals were held throughout the year. The head of the family would make regular sacrifices to the gods. There were also special offerings made on particular occasions, for example, when a member of the family fell ill or was about to embark on a hazardous journey. The regular festivals came to a glorious climax every 4 years in the great procession to the Acropolis. This was the Panathenaea to honor the city's goddess protector, Athena. All Athenians, regardless of status or occupation, were eligible to take part in the joyous procession. In the course of the ceremony, 2 young virgins offered the goddess a peplum, a gown trimmed with sumptuous embroidery. The procession entered the Acropolis through the Propylaea, the monumental western entrance designed by the architect Mnesicles. In those days, there was a gallery with exquisite paintings on canvas by Polygnotus, and later a nude Venus by the portrait painter Apelles. All these masterpieces have vanished without trace. After passing through the Propylaea, worshippers entered the inner courtyard. Here stood Athena as warrior Athena Promachus, 8 meters tall, with her gold spear and helmet. It was one of the earliest statues of Athena. On the right, behind a wall of the temple sacred to Artemis, one could catch a glimpse of the Parthenon, a perspective which survives today. In the time of Pericles, this building contained an intriguing statue, Athena Apteros. Apteros means wingless. It was said her wings had been removed so that the goddess couldn't leave her city. It was the work of the architect Callicrates, a masterpiece in marble, created during a truce between one of the many battles of Athens with its long-standing rival Sparta. Women of this time, between 421 and 406 BC, may not have been allowed to enter this building, the Erechtheum, the most hallowed temple on the Acropolis. It housed the city's holiest relics, including the olive tree which Athena summoned from the earth in her contest with Poseidon. Here also were believed to be the tombs of Erechtheus and Cecrops, legendary founders of the city. And finally, the Palladium was housed here. It was the oldest and most venerated image of Athena, a wooden statuette that simply appeared magically one day from nowhere. The temple's most celebrated remaining feature is the southern portico, supported by 6 caryatids. These exquisite statues of maidens, now ravaged by time, may well have been representations of real women admired for their beauty who lived and died here over 2,000 years ago. From microscopic fragments of paint, archaeologists have managed to recreate something of their original vitality. Of all the structures on the Acropolis, the Parthenon, dedicated to the goddess Athena Parthenos, or Virgin, the invincible goddess of war, remains the most awe-inspiring. 30 meters wide and 70 meters long, it has 8 Doric columns on the facades and 17 on each side. Construction began in 447 BC, and historians believe it was finished about 438. The pristine Pentelic marble from quarries nearby appears to change colour according to the light that shines on it. The Parthenon survived largely intact until 1687 AD, when a Turkish army used it to store ammunition, which exploded, causing massive damage. Though subsequent accidents and pillage have taken their toll, the majesty of the temple survives to this day. Computer reconstruction allows us to imagine these treasures as they were when first created. Here, the eastern pediment shows scenes of the battle for control of Athens between the goddess Athena and Poseidon, god of the sea, which, according to legend, was fought on the site of the Erechtheum. Wonderful as the exterior of the Parthenon was, its real significance lay inside. The temple celebrated one of Athena's most revered personifications, Athena Parthenos, Athena the Virgin. The statue of Athena inside the temple was, by all accounts, one of the most magnificent of the ancient world. Made of ivory and clothed with gold, it stood over 12 meters tall. It was so expensive, the cost to build it was enough to commission 300 warships. Its sculptor, Phidias, was said to have been inspired by the actual presence of the goddess in his studio as he worked. But the expense angered the Athenians. A charge of impiety was brought against Phidias, and he left the city. The statue remained in place until 426 AD. Then an invading army took it to Constantinople, where it was destroyed in a fire which also consumed most of the city. Archaeologists know about it through the so-called statuette of Varvakion, a small reproduction from the Hellenistic period. For many centuries, the Acropolis of Athens was a beacon for travelers throughout the ancient world. Many were on their way to Delphi, a holy site northwest of Athens. There was a great temple here, dedicated to the god Apollo. Delphi was also the home of the oracle of Apollo, who gave petitioners a cryptic glimpse of the future. Today, experts experiment with techniques duplicating those available to the original builders of Delphi, trying to determine just how the marble was brought here and put into place. This temple was built by the people of Athens in thanks for their great victory against the Persians at the Battle of Marathon in 490 BC. Once these rooms were heaped with shields and spears wrested from the Persians and devotional statues made of gold and silver. All these treasures have disappeared. Greek women of the time would have visited Delphi adorned with jewelry and other ornaments. They would have worn cosmetics and perfumes made from herbal extracts like mint, sesame, and cumin. A normal day for an ordinary family began at dawn. Breakfast for both adults and children was usually a little bread dipped in wine. During the day, the wife attended to the children and the house, while the husband led a more public life in politics or commerce. Athens offered an almost infinite variety of diversions for a male citizen of the upper classes. If he didn't have to work, he could visit and enjoy drinks with friends while his wife stayed at home. The men did the shopping in an area called the Agora. A huge variety of goods was on offer: household utensils, vegetables, wine, toiletries, pottery, leather, and wooden objects, healing herbs, potions, and medicines. Inevitably, coins were dropped, rolled away, lost, and then found years later. They've shown that goods were paid for with both local currency and the coins of other city-states. Undoubtedly, the bargaining was vigorous. Another of the living links between ancient and modern Athens is the market in the city's Monastiraki district. Then, as now, it was a huge, bustling bazaar where you could buy just about anything. 200 years before Christ, a writer reported, in Athens they sell everything in one place. All sorts of figs, bunches of grapes, turnips, pears, apples, fish from every sea, lamb, animal entrails, myrtle berries, water clocks, chickpeas, cow colostrum pudding, and honeycombs.